Of some showers across Northern Ireland, but northern parts of England should remain mostly dry. Now, still plenty of showers across parts of Wales, perhaps some isolated showers too across parts of the southeast. And through the morning, we'll start to see more and more of these showers across the south, banding together to give persistent outbreaks of rain at times. And into the afternoon, this could also turn thundery, so we're likely to see some hail and also some frequent lightning. Also a chance we could see some thundery showers across eastern parts of Scotland and northeastern parts of England. But elsewhere, particularly across the west, there should still be plenty of sunshine. Another warm, muggy day to come, highs once again reaching around 25 degrees Celsius across the south. Now, we'll see those showers ease away Thursday night, which means a much brighter day on Friday. Still a chance of showers mainly across eastern coasts, but these should be mostly light to moderate, and it could be quite breezy at times too across eastern coastal areas, but mostly dry into Saturday. Different story on Sunday though, as we see a return of outbreaks of rain move in from the west, but still once again warm in any sunshine.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Well, very busy hour coming your way. All of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, but we've got a big exclusive for you on an ongoing issue at a migrant hotel in the Wirral that we'll be revealing all about. I'm also going to be talking to Perez Hilton, the showbiz reporter extraordinaire, about Ozzy Osbourne. He's on the front of a lot of the newspapers, and apparently there's a 7-mile wide object hurtling through space that is on course to hit Earth, and scientists from Harvard are concerned that it's an alien spacecraft, so sleep tight.
It's the final week to see how you can win big, as there's an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash to be won. What would you spend it on? The holiday of a lifetime? Or just sit back, relax and remove some of those day-to-day financial stresses? Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, Welcome to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. And another day, another town protesting the Home Office plans to disperse asylum seekers in their towns. This time it's the communities of the Wirral and Waterlooville taking to the streets. We've also got summer holiday chaos. Thousands of flights are delayed and cancelled across the country. Again, it's leading in The Sun, leading on a couple of other national newspapers, following a tech glitch. Apparently, if you are one of the unlucky holiday makers, you won't get any compensation. Why not? I'll reveal all shortly. We're also going to be talking about this. Birmingham comes out to celebrate Ozzy Osbourne, and we're going to be speaking stateside to entertainment guru Perez Hilton for all of the very latest on that. Plus, breaking in the last few moments, actually, Canada's lefty PM Mark Carney, remember him? Thanks for the memories, Mark. Is going to follow Sir Keir Starmer's footsteps now and recognise the state of Palestine, a decision that is on the front pages of several national newspapers, plus in The Guardian, Palestine Action winning the right to fight their ban as a terrorist organisation. Also tonight, are aliens on their way to Earth? We'll be digging into a new theory that a comet, well, it's not a comet, is it? It's aliens, but anyway, whatever it is, hurtling towards Earth, it's 7 miles wide, this thing, it's the size of Manhattan, apparently, might actually be a hostile alien spacecraft. Not my words, the word of a bloke from Harvard. Joining me this evening, we have Conservative MP for Tatton Esther McVeigh, journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov, and GB News contributor and comedian Steve N. Allen. Lots to go at, that big exclusive for you, brought to us by Esther, actually, on that migrant hotel issue in the Wirral. So stay tuned, but now it's your headlines with Alex.
Hi, very good evening to you. Aaron Armstrong here in the GB News studio. Our headlines: more than 150 flights have been cancelled across all UK airports after a major traffic control outage. The technical issue only lasted for 20 minutes, but brought major airports to a standstill. Heathrow the worst affected, with more than 45 cancellations. EasyJet says it's extremely disappointing to see such a problem again causing major disruption. Ryanair has called for the head of UK air traffic control to resign. A student's been found guilty of assaulting 2 female police officers and a member of the public at Manchester Airport last summer. A jury at Liverpool Crown Court found Mohammed Fahir Amaz, seen here on the right, guilty on 3 counts of assault. They were unable to reach a verdict on 1 count of assault on another police officer involving Amaz and his brother, Mohammed Ahmad. Prosecutors have confirmed they are seeking a retrial on that charge. Palestine Action's co-founders want a bid to bring a High Court challenge over the group's ban as a terror organisation. The High Court's ruled the Home Secretary's prescription of the group under anti-terror laws should be reviewed. Yvette Cooper banned the organisation last month after activists caused an estimated £7 million worth of damage to 2 military planes. The current ban means membership of or support for the group is a criminal offence punishable by up to 14 years in prison. The Health Secretary's warned striking doctors if they go to war with the government, they'll lose. The British Medical Association has now confirmed it will resume talks with Wes Streeting next week, following a 5-day strike by resident doctors in England, which ended this morning. The Health Secretary, though, says doctors have squandered the considerable goodwill they had with the government, which will discuss working conditions, but will not negotiate on pay. Donald Trump's special envoy will travel to Israel tomorrow to discuss the crisis in Gaza. Steve Witkoff will address the ongoing lack of humanitarian aid after the US president expressed concern about images of starving Palestinian children earlier this week. It will be Mr. Witkoff's first trip to the region in 3 months and comes less than a week after ceasefire talks in Gaza broke down. The Hamas-run health ministry says another 7 people died from malnutrition in Gaza since Tuesday and 154 since the beginning of the war. And Ozzy Osbourne's family joined fans in paying an emotional farewell to the heavy metal star in Birmingham. tearful Sharon Osbourne was joined by her family to pay tributes to her late husband. They were married for more than 4 decades. He died last week at the age of 76. Now, tens of thousands of fans gathered to pay their respects.
Great to be here and see so many people of all ages as well. It's not just my generation, but much younger people as well. It's a lovely day.
It's been a very cathartic day, and overall I'm very sad to see Ozzy go, but I think he'd be proud of the turnout today.
I think it's been very inspirational that he was so well loved. It's been a very sad day, very solemn, but we've come out to pay our respects to him.
It's the Prince of Darkness. Rock and roll.
And that is it for the moment. Now it's back to Patrick Christys.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Brian, cheers. Anyway, right, OK. Welcome along to Late Edition. Let's whiz through all of Thursday's front pages, yes. The Daily Telegraph. Heathrow chaos to bring days of delays. So this is this mysterious outage that's taking place. Again, flights have been grounded. The Sun... There we go again. They also go off on the air chaos story. Apparently, if you are... one of the people who's been caught up in it all, that you don't get compensation because it was out of control of the airport. Seems a bit of a problem, that. But the Daily Express have got new clues on location of Moore's murder victim. This is Keith Bennett. Apparently they've uncovered some previously lost diaries there from Moore's murderer. We've also got The Independent. Arab nations urge Hamas to disarm and end the Gaza rule. The Metro, Sharon's tears for Ozzy. This is Ozzy Osbourne and his procession through Birmingham earlier today. The UK plan to get aid trucks into Gaza as Starmer joins allies in new warning to Israel. The Times, Palestine vow breaks law, claim top lawyer. I mean, this is, for me, is a tremendous story because it appears that Keir Starmer is about to be dismantled by international human rights lawyers, which would be just the sweet irony of that would be fantastic. And if The Guardian, Palestine Action wins the right to fight a ban in court. So they were prescribed as a terrorist organisation. Now they can fight that. It'll be an interesting watch. The Daily Mail, shame on you, Starmer. And that is the message from a British girl who was held hostage for 15 months, I think it was, by Hamas, saying that this deal that he's done, or this advice that he's giving, is completely wrong. We're joined now by my wonderful panel. We do have GB News contributor and comedian Stephen Allen, broadcaster Nina Mishkov, and Conservative MP for Tatton Esther McVeigh. Now, we're going to slightly break with convention here because I think one of the big stories is going to be tomorrow. It's not currently on tomorrow's newspaper, national newspaper front pages. And I'm going to throw it your way, Esther. I'm hoping that we do have a local newspaper to go to at some point here as well to illustrate it. But there's an issue with there's another migrant hotel issue brewing, isn't there? What's going on?
Yeah, it is. So I used to live just up the road in West Kirby. This is in Hoylake, very much a sort of a family town in the Wirral. Wirral's a peninsula. School kids and schools close by, elderly close by, the beach close by. And this was the Holiday Inn, the King's Gap Court there, and it had families of immigrants in there. And with no warning whatsoever, supposedly the Home Office unilaterally have made a decision that there are going to be now just single men placed in there. Oof. So the whole of the area is up in arms. It is the absolute wrong place to do this. They haven't been told. The local public are asking about transparency. They're asking about communication. The Labour Council is trying to point it at the government and the Home Office, but actually the local Labour Council could be doing something. They could be looking at planning permissions. If it's now become a hostel with care, which it is, it would need to change planning permission, which means it could be refused. So let's not have this Labour Council said this against Labour government saying this. Let's get it sorted. It is absolutely the wrong place.
So there you go. So it's not a remote location. I get what you mean. I kind of get where it is actually there in the Wirral, but not an ideal location. But families was one thing, and then 2 days' notice, wallop, here's like a couple of hundred just single men.
Exactly. Absolutely, it's wrong. On every level, it is wrong. If you went there, you'd realise how wrong this is. And like I said, very family-oriented, lots of old people there, lots of, you know, schools close by, primary schools, senior schools.
And are locals protesting over this?
In arms. So they found out last night, there was protests last night, and as I understand it, there's protests tonight as the community is getting to understand, because actually they'd been welcoming. They'd understood families living there who were, you know, immigrants who'd come over. They got that, but not just single men, because there's no jobs or anything there for them. What will they be doing?
Well, hanging around.
They're not allowed to work. They're not allowed to work.
There's nothing for them to do. You don't know the area, Nina.
No,
I'm nothing for you to do.
Asylum seekers are not allowed to work. You said that.
Yeah, and I'm just saying this is the wrong area for them, Nina. And if you knew the area, you'd understand absolutely wrong.
Yeah, Steve, do you have any sympathy for people now who are kind of waking up one morning and realising that those kind of sweet families from all over the world have turned into like 300 Afghan men?
Yes. Look, this is one of those things where if you look at, like, the definition of what populism is, there's the first part of it is there are issues that actually are important. And then if you answer them in a lazy way, a cheap way, a way that convinces people that the problem's something else, then that's where the problems are. But a government needs to listen to the issues of people. If protests are happening, pay attention. Don't start thinking, oh, this is another thing, we just need to insult people, call them vaguely far-right for involving themselves in a protest. No, listen to the concerns of protest. And this is one where hopefully the newspapers will remember that starting position of this wasn't... These were families that people were happy with. So you can't really accuse everyone who's turning up of being racist or far-right.
I think the new word is paedophile, actually, because you've seen Peter Kyle was coming out yesterday and said, well, if you're against the Online Safety Act, you are in some way now in favour of the paedophiles.
Yeah. Well, it's sorry to get nerdy, but it's a false dichotomy argument, isn't it? Like, well, if it's not A, it's B, and you don't want to be B, so it must be A. No, that's not how that works. You've pulled an absolute fast one on us.
It's bonkers. Well, just to round this up, because actually tonight, what we do have some footage of is an Epping-style protest to stop migrants being housed above a town's high street shops. And this is thousands of locals, apparently, warning of mayhem if the plans go ahead. And this is in Waterlooville. So the Home Office sparked fury last week after it emerged that they were secretly plotting to relocate 35 asylum seekers to a brand new apartment development in Waterlooville in Hampshire. The move was part of a wider plan to lower the number of hotels and disperse migrants across the UK. I think... I might be able to get... Well, I'll be able to get you some footage of that in a second. But yeah, I mean, look, Nina, this is the thing. They're kind of fudging the numbers, aren't they? They're saying to people, we're cutting hotels down, but actually, you know, they'll just plonk them into brand-new apartment buildings on a high street instead, and then locals get a bit miffed about that.
I can understand that completely. I can understand that completely, of course. And nobody's saying everybody's far right. There are genuinely concerned people. There are mothers, there are all, you know, their husbands, their fathers. They're thinking this is all terrible. But what else are the government supposed to do? That you could say, oh, send them all back. You can't send them back tomorrow. They have to be housed somewhere. Where are they going to be housed?
Well, we've got one. We need to house them in Rwanda. You need to bring that scheme back together. You've got to follow what Trump has followed that one.
You cannot get them onto a plane. There are only, as I said, 300 hotels. You say they're building more. They cannot build 30,000 more.
Nina, what we don't want anymore is excuses as to why we can't deport these people. We've got to have reasons why we can.
The thing is, you have... But you don't have a reason.
That we need to do...
It's all right speaking about it. You don't have any practical way of doing it. You have to be pragmatic about it.
Bring Stephen. See, I just wonder, like, if we're just hurtling headlong towards this idea. It was like, oh, it's going to be a summer of disorder. Oh, it's going to be a summer of disorder. It's going to be a summer of disorder. We're getting to the point now where it's like, right, we can see what's happening. It looks like it might kick off, and no one's doing anything about it.
Do you reckon it's the weather? Somehow it's either been too hot to really get stuck into a riot or just oddly rainy. Honestly, because normally you can look at this, aren't they? There are stats and stuff that looks how you need the perfect weather for things to kick off during a summer. This is why you don't tend to get riots in winter, isn't it? It's bizarrely weather-related.
The winter riots. You know, that's true, actually. Have we ever had the winter riots? We probably have at some point. Someone's going to dig out the winter riots of 82 now. They're like a riot
prophecy. The more you say it, the more it snowballs. And snow being the wrong term, obviously.
Quite,
Sorry about that. But it does. And it's just encouraging. The more you talk about it, and the more people protest...
But August is the time that riots happen. It's also the time that wars start. I mean, it is the time. So it is about a perfect, ideal weather conditions where you can either riot or start a war or something. But what we have seen, so whilst Keir Starmer hasn't been meeting people from the protest, understanding their upset and concern. No, what he's doing is a snooper's law, bringing in a new elite police force to look whether he sees anybody complaining about sort of the immigration factor, and what we're going to have police swoop down on law-abiding citizens.
I'm just pitching a quick idea as well. Just coming, you know, when they do the weather forecast, maybe they should incorporate whether it's good riot weather or not. I'm just coming up with ideas. The weather department can work out how they deploy that.
We're going to get rioting in the northeast today, but it's not good riot conditions in the south. Just quick, I want to get some front pages, because that was kind of breaking news that we brought to the table, or Esther brought to the table there, about a migrant hotel issue in the Wirral. So I want to get some actual front pages. The Guardian has got Palestine Action winning the right to fight ban in courts. So just on this as well, actually, in the last few moments it's emerged that Canada's PM Mark Carney is following in the footsteps of Sir Keir Starmer, and he's going to recognise the state of Palestine in September. So Palestine Action wins the right to fight their ban in court. So they are going to be saying that, look, hey, we only sprayed red paint and caused £7 million worth of damage to one aircraft.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you start tinkering around with military bases, you've kind of picked the wrong side. You're getting very close to what the definition of terrorism is. If you are doing something to try and bring about a different goal, isn't it? That's surely at the core of it. It's not, I wish to damage this plane, so I damage this plane. You wish to change things politically, so you do an illegal act. That's getting close to the definition. So,
but also it highlighted just how absolutely shocking the security was there. I mean, fortunately, something like that happened in a way because it showed up how absolutely abysmal the whole idea is. I mean, ridiculous that they should have been able to scale the perimeter fence or whatever they did and cause that damage. My God,
do we even
outrageous.
need Palestine Action anymore, though? I mean, hasn't Keir Starmer just caved into them?
Well, I guess he has, in a way, and that's what's interesting on the Times here, that he's come out with, because he caved in to his cabinet, he caved in to his MPs, he made very much a political decision because he's worried about the vote, he's worried about the independence
He's
of
also
Gaza
absolutely devastated by what's going on in Gaza.
Let's let Esther finish.
Sentence. And what he's done is another sort of empty phrase about this, he's going to have this state of Palestine, and then what we discover now is it's got 4 conditions to set up a state, and actually none of those conditions will be met. 40 law lords have written to say what you're doing is wrong, and interesting, even the Lord Mandelson, the Labour Minister under Tony Blair, has written to say.
Well, and the US ambassador, of course, isn't it?
And the US ambassador as well.
I mean, someone must be fuming about this, though, Steve. I mean, this is like his mates, the international lawyers, the human rights community is saying, sorry, you can't do this.
Do you not think it's going to be a great scene to see him going like, international law, schminternational law? I don't need to stick to these stupid rules. It'll be great, what a flip. It's interesting that, just to bring the front page of The Independent, Arab nations urge Hamas to disarm and end Gaza rule. When the Arab nations are doing a better job than Keir Starmer, it's time to start asking some questions. I thought this was going to be a threat, because I think the threat of recognising the state was potentially more useful than recognising the state.
But do you not think it's interesting that Starmer made this statement just hours after he'd spent a lot of time with Trump? I cannot imagine that he would have made that statement without running it past Trump. Now, Trump cannot be seen to be not supporting Israel, but he can allow Starmer to do it for him and to get the rest of the world... Have we thought? I mean, let's think about that.
I think
would Starmer have said that without
MPs and also the new party?
I think you need to look more globally than that.
Corbyn has set up, and he's frightened of his backbenchers, which has always been the case, and that's why he's come forward and done this so quickly. And that's really what he's playing to his own political audience.
I think
MPs.
He sees the bigger picture, and he sees the starvation and the absolute desperation, and it's obscene.
No, we all see that, and that's horrific.
What are we doing about it? What are we doing about it?
People are looking at different ways of solving it.
Like
Everybody...
what? Like what? You need to put pressure on Israel. You put pressure on Hamas.
Well, I think the best thing here is the Arab nations saying that we need to, should this happen, get rid of Hamas.
Absolutely.
Don't some of those Arab nations fund Hamas, though? Yeah, but that was the fatal flaw in that. It's like Arab nations come together to say that they should stop funding the thing they've been funding.
There's a column in the iPaper by somebody called Patrick Christys. He said, there is nothing left of Gaza, so there's little point in a Palestinian state. There are some people who would say, job done, and then...
OK. Well, there we are. OK, we've got some other big stories that are on the front pages. The ongoing air travel chaos that has gripped Britain is on the front of at least 2 national newspapers, but so is the fact that Birmingham came out to celebrate the life of an icon, Ozzy Osbourne. Earlier today, Sharon Osbourne, it must be said, looking, as you understandably, of course, looking incredibly emotional, flanked by her children. We're going to be going to entertainment guru Perez Hilton on that very shortly. Stay tuned.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Cleethorpes here has a rich military history. Today, 200,000 people are going to be turning up, and all around there are the celebrations of those veterans and those current serving military personnel. Now, we're here with the guys from HMS Antrim. Let's go and have a chat to a few of them. Nigel Smith, we'll come to you first. Hi. Now, you've got this beautiful bench which has been you've done and commissioned. Tell us about HMS Antrim and that story, because I don't think it's something actually a lot of people probably know.
So HMS Antrim was in the Falklands War in 1982. We were a bunch of young lads, 17 years old, going to war. No idea what was happening, when it was happening. We're just told we're going down south and we're going to war with the Argentinians. To be honest, half of them thought we was going up north to Scotland. So you imagine it's been 17 years old, we're on a warship, join the Navy, see the world, and suddenly we're all going to war at 17-year-old. And we're all, well, half a dozen of us here at the moment.
For you, what does Armed Forces Day mean for you? You've got your bench here, you know, you're celebrating here today. Is it about a celebration of the forces? What does it mean for you today?
For me, it's literally celebrating the brotherhood of the Antrim, plus recognising what the armed forces do. It's under-recognised, and the country doesn't really have an armed forces anymore. And this, they need to start thinking, we need the armed forces. Back in '82, we had best part of 100 warships. You don't have that anymore. So we had the camaraderie, we knew what we were doing. It's all computerised anymore now and stuff like that, but nobody knows what we did in '82, and that was a big thing for the Antrim. We were the first ship since World War II to sink a submarine for a start. We were the first ship down there, the last ship back, and we went back down there 2 months after we had a repair damage done. You know, and it is the camaraderie of the lads and the teamwork.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So, look, let's start with this particular section anyway, with Thursday's Sun newspaper. The main story they've got here is after the fire chaos at Heathrow, ere we go again. This, I imagine, will have affected quite a few people watching and listening to this. There's been a huge tech glitch. Predominantly appears at Heathrow Airport. All outbound UK flights were grounded, holes ruined for thousands. It just seems to be, you know, absolutely insane. This is the last time there was a glitch. It cost the air industry 100 million quid, Stephen. Here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, not just the fires of earlier this year. There was the Gatwick a couple of years ago had this thing with its departure boards, and they ended up having to use flip charts and marker pens. You think, like, if that's the technology, if that's your backup technology. No, we've got a stationary cupboard. You can't really do it when radar goes down, can you? We've got binoculars, and I can guess this distance. How is it that we just can't use technology well? I'm sure there'll be pictures of what they do in Japan. They've got trains that float. They could send their trains to replace the planes. They're so good over there. And yet we can't even get this working. It's a little bit terrifying because it seems to get worse, doesn't it?
It does get worse. And, of course, the airlines are kicking off because it's not their fault. I mean, so that mild-mannered Mr Michael O'Leary of Ryanair...
By the way, I like the guy.
Yeah,
I like the guy. He's nuts. I love it.
Yeah, I agree.
I just love it.
I agree. But he's calling for the head of Nats to go because it's you know he should go because it's you know.
But I remember a few years ago the bank holiday again when all of the planes were sort of kept on the ground, and I'd want to go away on holiday, and Phil, my husband, who'd want to go away to Torquay, said, "Aren't you delighted we're now in Torquay? We're not going away this summer holiday either," so he will bring this out and say, "Aren't you glad we're staying in Cheshire for the whole of the summer?"
You're right. This is the kind of thing that causes rows, doesn't it? I've been there with Emily where I've insisted on us getting the cheapest flight home, which is normally the one right at the end of the day, and people are herded onto it like cattle, and then there's like a delay, and you don't go, and it's like, "See, I told you this would happen. I told you it would happen, and it's all my fault." But anyway, there we go.
Stay in the UK for your holidays because apparently we're getting great riot weather this year. I saw a forecast.
It is. Watch out, August. But look, I wanted to stick with the Sun's front page because the other story, it's not just on the Sun, but it's on a lot of the nationals. The picture story, the main picture story that a lot of national newspapers have decided to go for is, well, it's Sharon Osbourne, but of course the context is that it was a memorial parade for Ozzy Osbourne, and in fact the Sun have gone so big on it that it's on pages 8, 9, 10 and 11 tomorrow, although I do think that Sharon Osbourne might have some kind of contract with News UK, which might explain exactly why they've gone so big on it, but there we go. And it's on the front of the Metro as well, and on The Guardian and all of that. So, yeah, look, really, really moving stuff to see the outpouring of emotion, but also the emotion from Sharon Osbourne herself. Well, we can go over now to US celebrity guru Perez Hilton. Perez, thank you so much for sitting on the line for us there. So, look, gosh, I mean, it's the day that Birmingham here, but also, of course, his family said goodbye to an absolute icon.
Yes, and a beloved international icon as well. For many, many years, Ozzy, Sharon, and their children lived in Los Angeles in the Beverly Hills neighborhood and was a staple on television here, really helping to cement what was then this new genre of reality television. I'm friends with the family, and I did not reach out to either Sharon or Kelly because they're probably being inundated right now, but I hope, and I'm pretty sure they know how supported they are and how everybody is thinking of them. And seeing Sharon today, it made me worry, actually. It made me worry because a lot of people that are, older in life, if they've been with their husband or partner for decades, they oftentimes die of a broken heart themselves. And seeing Sharon there looking so fragile, it really concerned me, and I hope that she takes care of herself.
Yeah, 100%. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her and the whole family. But you are right. I mean, one can absolutely understand the idea that you're grieving for your husband after so many years, and gosh, but she does look incredibly fragile physically. As well, so we wish her all the best there. But you make that point. Yeah. What was Ozzy Osbourne's kind of status like in the States? We kind of know what he was like here, but what was he like in the States?
Ozzy is one of those rare personalities that really transcended genre. He was bigger than just heavy metal. He also transcended generations. He was known known by his peers and folks in that generation, and he was known by younger generations as well. And I don't think it's an overestimation to say that he, at least in my eyes, was beloved.
Yeah, definitely. Can I just ask you a couple of other things about some other celebrities, if that's okay? because we're hearing, reading with some interest about Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson. So, is this true then? They're together?
Well, they're starring in this new movie, a reboot of the Naked Gun franchise. And according to People magazine here in the United States, whom I consider to be very reputable, they are indeed dating. And even Liam himself, while refusing to put a label on it, while being interviewed this week on the Today Show here, said that they are currently exploring where their chemistry takes them, saying that they discovered while working together that they have this great chemistry, and now they're seeing what that leads to.
Well, he has got a particular set of skills, hasn't he? So that's quite good. And just finally, as well, Katy Perry. So she is now with Justin Trudeau. Is that right?
Well, I don't know if I would say she's with him, but they did go out on a very public date earlier this week on Monday in Montreal. They had a whole day and night outing. They went for a walk in the park with her dog. They went out to a dinner, just the two of them. And then they went out for cocktails over a terrace afterwards. I think, this is just my opinion, that was probably not their first time socializing privately. As a duo, to be so public. I think they might have a couple times at least, but in America, we don't have strong feelings either way about Justin Trudeau, but I was definitely surprised to see in my comments section that a lot of people don't like him for a variety of reasons. And unfortunately, Katy Perry has also had a pretty difficult year as well, with a lot of negative feedback for everything from, going to space and calling herself an astronaut to her tour. And, I would have hoped that perhaps whomever she was with might not be somebody that's also polarizing, but it seems to be. But you know what? Who cares? I think they're a great match for each other because both of them know how to deal with an intense spotlight on them.
Well, and a plunging reputation by the sounds of things as well. So there we go. Anyway, Perez, thank you very much. Always a real pleasure. Take care. I hope to see you in the flesh one time very soon. Thank you. Perez Hilton there. Gosh, a cacophony of celebrity couples.
Absolutely. I mean, the movie they've made, Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson, Naked Gun, got a 4-star review in the Times, and the Times has said the chemistry between them on screen is absolutely fantastic.
Well, and they're exploring where that chemistry goes.
Exactly.
Yeah. I did chemistry at university. Not like that, though. I didn't get to exploring that way.
No. I don't know. I just think it's interesting because they've embraced new looks, haven't they? So Pamela Anderson's gone for the very natural look now, hasn't she?
Well, she's blessed with natural beauty. I will be keeping to the makeup.
Oh, no, but silly,
But
no.
that said, she did the Showgirls film, didn't she, recently?
Yes.
And she does look stunning with the makeup on. So, Liam might talk her back into putting a bit of blush on.
Just buy a voucher
it's more
for
the mascara.
Christmas.
It's more the mascara, isn't it? You don't care much of it, but it's the mascara.
But
just a little something. Yeah, I don't know. This is bad. I mean, as a player, I don't know. I'll be honest, because I by the way, I've seen the Showgirls thing. I thought she was great, and I am genuinely a massive fan of Pamela Anderson. I don't mean this to be rude, but I did think maybe just do a little something. Like if I was with her, I think eventually I'd be like, "Have you thought about the lipstick?"
But who was the other great beauty and idol who decided to sort of go makeup free? That was Brigitte Bardot, who said, you know what, I've had enough of just being a sex symbol. I now want to
I know exactly.
just walk the beat to what
Steve and I were saying this.
Same thing, exactly.
Well, you were saying it before, weren't you? You've had enough of the sex symbol.
I'm not a piece of meat.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
That's not what I heard. I'm terribly sorry.
Katy Perry, do we believe that's a proper relationship, or is it just a little bit about publicity?
I've had to pretend to care about this for two nights in a row now, and it's over. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore.
Men, though, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Russell.
Wow. Yeah, quite.
Justin.
Although I think Orlando was doing all right for himself.
He was good.
Orlando Bloom, the thing that is worrying there is we've all seen the unpixelated pictures of him on that surfboard thing, which means Justin Trudeau's got some big shoes to fill.
Absolutely. That's
what you do with your shoes.
On that note, coming up, returning to the front pages, West Streeting has vowed that the striking doctors will lose their pay war. So we're going to be talking about all that. And immigration fuels a record population growth 2 years in a row. So more front pages coming away in just a sec.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. A thunderstorm warning has been issued for tomorrow across central and southeastern parts of England, so a chance that we could start to see some travel disruption. But for the time being, high pressure remaining largely dominant, particularly across the southwest. But this at times swinging in frontal systems, so that means more cloud, also some light outbreaks of rain to end the day across Scotland. But for most of the night, it should remain mostly dry. Then we need to draw our attention to areas of Wales, central parts of England. We'll start to see some showery outbreaks move their way through across dawn. And for all, it is going to be quite a mild and muggy night to come. Some towns and cities not dropping much past 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Then during the early hours of the morning, across Scotland, once again, it's set to be quite cloudy, possibly quite murky at times. Light outbreaks of rain in western areas, but across Aberdeenshire, some of these areas of rain could turn quite heavy at times. A chance of some showers across Northern Ireland, but northern parts of England should remain mostly dry. Now, still plenty of showers across parts of Wales, perhaps some isolated showers too across parts of the southeast. And through the morning, we'll start to see more and more of these showers across the south, banding together to give persistent outbreaks of rain at times. And into the afternoon, this could also turn thundery, so we're likely to see some hail and also some frequent lightning. Also a chance we could see some thundery showers across eastern parts of Scotland and northeastern parts of England. But elsewhere, particularly across the west, there should still be plenty of sunshine. Another warm, muggy day to come, highs once again reaching around 25 degrees Celsius across the south. Now, we'll see those showers ease away Thursday night, which means a much brighter day on Friday. Still a chance of showers mainly across eastern coasts, but these should be mostly light to moderate, and it could be quite breezy at times too across eastern coastal areas, but mostly dry into Saturday. Different story on Sunday though, as we see a return of outbreaks of rain move in from the west, but still once again warm in any sunshine.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Now, on the front page of one of tomorrow's newspapers it's The Guardian. It's West Streeting saying resident doctors have squandered the considerable goodwill that they had with the government after staging 5 days of strikes across England. He says that he never left the negotiating table and that they are going to lose the pay war. They're going to lose the pay war. Esther, how would you deal with these striking doctors? Because Kemi Badenoch, your dear leader, I think, wants to ban doctors from striking, doesn't she?
Yeah, which lots of Europe has that. So you do minimal service levels, or minimum, I should say, service levels, so you can't put your patients at risk. I think what happened here was Labour gave in to them, gave them a huge pay rise, and I think they must have thought, what schmucks, and they're back now striking for an unbelievable amount of money, 29% increase, and they've seen Starmer is weak. They think they'll give in and give them more money, and it is absolutely outrageous. Now, there are different ways you might want to solve it. I've always said they should get rid of their student debt. So if you do want to give them a pay increase, get rid of the student debt. I don't believe our doctors should be in debt. I'd also tie them for 7 years to the NHS so they pay it back. But 29 pay increase, give us a break. Not realistic. They've more or less had a 28% pay increase already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite screwed, especially about the student debt thing. So they're going on strike again. West Streeting saying they're going to lose this pay war. There was a story that was in the newspapers a couple of days ago as well, Nina, which was about the BMA refusing to let doctors come off the picket line to treat dangerously ill people. I mean, at what point does this become corporate manslaughter?
Well, the point is that, you know, they've now lost the support of the public pretty much. And this is the thing. And I say this with a heavy heart because I've just come out of the sharp end of 2 weeks of my partner being in intensive care, and he's, thank God, all right.
Yeah.
And thank God for brilliant surgeons, doctors, nurses, and all of that. Having also said that, I look towards, and I believe that doctors should be paid whatever they're worth, really. But parity back to 2008 is what they're looking for. Now, the people I see on the picket lines on television are, say, in their 20s, maybe early 30s. Now, in 2008, they were not in the profession.
Yes.
So if I saw 40 and 50-year-olds on the picket line, I think, well, OK, you wanted to get it back to where you used to be. But these people these young doctors have joined since pay was at that level. So I was going to say, so it's a frivolous, dreadful equivalent, but say in the entertainment industry, if people went back to 2008, what they were being paid in the entertainment industry, fine. But then you can't just join in 2015 and say, I want what we used to get then, because it's moved on.
It's moved on.
Yeah. But it also ignores the fact that the rest of society doesn't have parity with what it would have had in 2008, because we've all been through some rough times, and we didn't. If they've managed to get a pay rise to get them towards it, but if you manage to not have any of the suffering that we've had, then you'll be ahead of society, which also doesn't seem...
Yes, actually, that is really true, isn't it?
Yeah.
I never really thought about that. Yeah, they need to suffer too.
No.
They need to suffer.
I wouldn't phrase it that way, especially if you've got to check up tomorrow.
Dogs, they make us suffer.
What you've got also playing into this now is a very, the BMA has now become very militant.
Unbelievable.
And some of the doctors are saying, or the more senior doctors, will support this strike. You know, why? Because they're getting paid up to £6,000 for a shift, which is what the BMA want for them. The whole thing stinks. And so Wes does need to get some steel in him. He does need to say, so I'm glad he's come out here and saying, you're not going to get this. And when these... they don't want to be called junior doctors anymore. That name was beneath them. But when they're talking about parity, but when they're talking about parity with 2008, they need this 29% pay rise. That's not true either, because if you do CPI rather than RPI, it's 4%, not 28%. So actually, the 5% that Wes offered would have been right. So actually, they're picking and choosing what they want. I'm afraid, like you said, they've lost the support of the public. They've lost the way.
But what I don't like is people who carp at the amount of money that they do earn and saying, oh, they get this much. They are worth that. They have trained for years and years and years. And if you need medical help, you can't just go to Boots and ask.
No, I do understand that, but then also look, it does come back to that stories we discussed on the previous show a bit about how we've got kind of homeless veterans. I think members of our armed forces aren't allowed to go on strike. I would give them a pay rise, and I think if they just had a 25% pay rise, I don't think they'd be out they'd be downing their weapons and saying give us 29% more. But anyway, we've got to whiz on because I'm keen to get into this story. A former Conservative whip has become the latest senior Tory to defect to reform. Adam Holloway, who was an MP from 2005 until losing his seat last year, announced he'd switched allegiances. Mr Holloway said, there comes a moment for many soldiers and most politicians when you realise the battle you think you're fighting isn't the one your leaders are waging. Well, sorry, Esther, I think this one has to go your way, doesn't it? Will you be joining Reform anytime soon?
No, I won't be, but I do like Adam. I do like Adam Holloway a lot. In the Grenadier Guards for 5 years, Magdalen College, Cambridge, a really, really decent guy. And you might remember Craig McKinley. That was the guy who had to have his limbs amputated. It was actually Adam who helped save his life when the doctors and everybody was saying, no, I don't think there's anything we can do. He said, no, we're going to do something. The guy is a good guy. So for me, it's a loss. I do love him.
And just speak volumes maybe about this switch now that people are saying to reform all the time almost.
It's interesting, isn't it? That is the battleground, and it's the splitting of the vote on the right that's going to be the interesting thing for the next election. That's what it seems to be.
Just as well, we've now got the Fruit and Nut Party on the left. That's Jezbel.
Well, that won't make any difference at all, will it? That's the problem.
The thing is, he's lost his seat, so he's out of a job, basically. And if he sticks with the Conservatives, he's not going to get back in. So there is also maybe a decent guy. There's also a sense of opportunism there, because why would you stick with the Conservatives? I mean, seriously.
Well, look, we're going to move on because, and I don't say this lightly, everybody. Some people, serious people, this is not just me saying it, some serious people, scientists, people at Harvard, brain boxes, genuinely think that we are literally about to be visited by aliens. There is a 7-mile-long object coming in hot behind the sun that they think is an alien craft. So, yeah, I'll see you after the break if we're all still here.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The heat wave is now easing across parts of Greece and also parts of Turkey, but elsewhere across Europe, still some humid air creating thundery downpours. But across the west, particularly across Portugal, Spain, most of France, it's largely dry, plenty of sunshine. But across parts of Germany, northern parts of Italy, still a chance of some quite intense thundery downpours. And also still across parts of Greece and Bulgaria, we could start to see some outbreaks of rain. But otherwise, for the large majority, plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Oh, it's got a little bit spacey in here, hasn't it? So, are we about to be visited by extraterrestrials? Well, the answer to that might legitimately now be yes. An interstellar object thought to be a comet, but probably aliens, currently hurtling towards Earth. And according to new researchers, it could genuinely be alien technology. So this is the theory posted by a trio of researchers led by a really senior guy called Avi Loeb, who is an astrophysicist from Harvard University. Apparently it's about 7 miles long, this thing. Joining me now is space expert Andy Loud. Andy, I'm hoping that you might be able to shed some light on this. Maybe we've got some pictures of some diagrams of this thing, etc. But why are they so, you know, well, we're not convinced, but thinking that this could be an alien craft?
Well, good evening. This is the third interstellar object which actually spotted in coming through our solar system, which means it's an object that didn't originate in our solar system. It's arriving and passing through our system. We had the first one, which was the image that you're seeing now, which is a Oumuamua, which again, one of the senior writers of this paper, Avi Loeb, suggested it could be an alien probe coming through the solar system, basically because of the way it actually moved through the solar system. Most scientists, however, totally disagreed with that. It has to be stated. And in fact, they've actually found in analysis now that this object changed its course slightly due to outgassing of hydrogen from the object anyway. Right. We had a comet pass through us, and now we've got a third comet passing through our interstellar system. And this is Atlas, and of course people have been studying it, and turns out it is a comet. It does have a coma of gas, which is coming from the object itself. It means there's ices on the surface, and as they warm up, those ices turn straight from a solid to a gas, so that's it's surrounding by those, travelling at 130,000 miles per hour, passing through our solar system, and we'll just pass straight through. And Loeb and his people have written this interesting paper suggesting the possibility that because of the way it's flying through the system, it is possibly aliens probing us. It has to be stated, however, that no other scientific group accept this. And be careful when you look at somebody say, oh, but he's from Harvard. Carl Sagan always said, never confuse academic knowledge with intelligence. Very, very important that, because I think this has a lot to do with publicity rather than actual scientific data that this is of an alien origin.
So apparently it's shown non-gravitational acceleration.
Yes, it has, and that's because of outgassing. Outgassing, when it comes through, it does cause that, causes an effect that makes it move and rotate. That's quite normal behaviour, and there's nothing unusual in that whatsoever. There's nothing that we're observing with this object coming through us that says anything unusual, apart from the fact it's passing through our system.
Well, I was about to say that. So a couple of things there. Firstly, is it going to hit us because it looks massive and fast? Fine, good. We're off the hook. We're off the hook there. And as far as you're concerned, this is a no to the alien invasion.
Oh, of course, no. I think there's a
one day I'll be right.
If a scientist says alien invasion, he gets himself on the front of the papers.
I'd actually welcome it, Andy. I don't know about you. What would you do? What would you do, Andy Lown, space expert, if you were told that the aliens are coming?
Please take me with them. Quickly as possible, get me out of this as quickly as possible. We've got a bin strike on in Birmingham, which is an absolute nightmare. We've got a nightmare going on at the moment with science. Trump is scrapping all the science. Take me now, please.
I'd love it if they'd come just to arrive, just to lock on Downing Street, tell Keir Starmer where to go, and then they fly off again. I'd love that. Anyway, all right, well, look, thank you very much, Andy. Tremendous stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you to my wonderful panel. Look, I haven't got time to run through all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages for you again, or today's if you're watching in the morning. But I will say that the Palestine vow by Keir Starmer could break international law is on one. There's some Heathrow Airport chaos that's on the front of a couple. Sharon Osbourne saying goodbye to Ozzy Osbourne is on a couple of them as well. Palestine Action are going to potentially not be a terrorist group anymore. And that's all for now, but I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. A thunderstorm warning has been issued for tomorrow across central and southeastern parts of England, so a chance that we could start to see some travel disruption. But for the time being, high pressure remaining largely dominant, particularly across the southwest. But this at times swinging in frontal systems, so that means more cloud, also some light outbreaks of rain to end the day across Scotland. But for many, for most of the night, it should remain mostly dry. Then we need to draw our attention to areas of Wales, central parts of England. We'll start to see some showery outbreaks move their way through across dawn, and for all it is going to be quite a mild and muggy night to come. Some towns and cities not dropping much past 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Then during the early hours of the morning across Scotland, once again it's set to be quite cloudy, possibly quite murky at times. Light outbreaks of rain in western areas, but across Aberdeenshire some of these areas of rain could turn quite heavy at times. A chance of some showers across Northern Ireland, but northern parts of England should remain mostly dry. Now, still plenty of showers across parts of Wales, perhaps some isolated showers too across parts of the southeast. And through the morning, we'll start to see more and more of these showers across the south, banding together to give persistent outbreaks of rain at times. And into the afternoon, this could also turn thundery, so we're likely to see some hail and also some frequent lightning. Also a chance we could see some thundery showers across eastern parts of Scotland and northeastern parts of England. But elsewhere, particularly across the west, there should still be plenty of sunshine. Another warm, muggy day to come, highs once again reaching around 25 degrees Celsius across the south. Now, we'll see those showers ease away Thursday night, which means a much brighter day on Friday. Still a chance of showers mainly across eastern coasts, but these should be mostly light to moderate, and it could be quite breezy at times too across eastern coastal areas, but mostly dry into Saturday. Different story on Sunday though, as we see a return of outbreaks of rain move in from the west, but still once again warm in any sunshine.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you can win big, as there's an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash to be won. What would you spend it on? The holiday of a lifetime? Or just sit back, relax and remove some of those day-to-day financial stresses? Lines close on the 1st of August, so make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Good evening. Hamas claims victory over the potential UK recognition of Palestine. Has Keir Starmer jumped the gun far too early on this? I can report now that we know nearly 900 people have crossed the English Channel today. It's been absolute chaos out there as they nearly all came at the same time. And yet, as Greece starts to arrest people that arrive on their islands, we have a paedophile who's been spared from deportation. And at the end today, I'll be joined on Talking Pints by American Conservative commentator Ann Coulter, and we'll find out how well she thinks the Trump trip went. All of that and much more in just a moment. First, let's get the news with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you, Nigel. Good evening to you. It's 7 o'clock. Your headlines. Airlines across the UK are dealing with delays after an air traffic control failure caused major disruption this afternoon. Approximately 45 departures have been cancelled, along with 35 arrivals, although those numbers may well grow. Heathrow was worst affected for cancellations, and more than a dozen flights en route there were diverted. Air traffic control provider NAT says the system's been restored, but delays are expected. Ryanair has called for the head of the organisation to resign over what it's described as an outrageous technical error. A student's been found guilty of assaulting 2 female police officers and a member of the public at Manchester Airport last summer. A jury at Liverpool Crown Court found Mohammed Fahir Amaz, seen here on the right, guilty on 3 counts of assault. The jury were unable to reach a verdict, though, on one further count of assaulting another police officer involving Amaz and his brother Mohammed Ahmad. There will now be a retrial on that charge, which has been welcomed by Greater Manchester Police. The chairman of its federation, Mike Peake, says it shows the worst side of police work his officers are faced with. A British brother and sister aged 11 and 13 have been confirmed to have drowned off the east coast of Spain. They were swimming off a beach in the town of Salou in Catalonia. Their father, who was also in the water, was rescued. Officials had originally reported the 2 children to die had both been boys. Palestine Action's been granted permission to challenge its ban by the UK government as a terror organisation. The High Court has ruled the Home Secretary's prescription of the group under anti-terror laws should be reviewed. Yvette Cooper banned the organisation last month after activists caused an estimated £7 million worth of damage to military planes at RAF Bryce Norton. However, the group has failed in its bid for a temporary pause of the ban until that challenge is heard at the High Court. And Ozzy Osbourne's family joined fans in paying an emotional farewell to the heavy metal star during a procession in Birmingham. A tearful Sharon Osbourne, who was married to Ozzy for more than 4 decades, added a rose to the hundreds of floral tributes and balloons laid around the Black Sabbath bench as people in the crowd chanted his name. And she was joined by family members, including children Kelly and Jack. Tens of thousands gathered to pay their respects as Ozzy's body was transported in a hearse topped by a purple floral tribute in the shape of a cross. A private funeral is expected to take place tomorrow. Those are your headlines. I'll have more at 8 o'clock. Now it's back to Nigel.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Good evening. Well, I said last night on this show that I felt that all of this was premature, that the time to recognise the state of Palestine was not now, as the danger was it would be seen as giving something of a victory to Hamas. I also said last night that I felt that the demands that were being made on Israel were far greater than the demands that were being made on a new Palestinian state. Well, sure as eggs is eggs, a man called Bassem Naam, a senior figure in Hamas today, said victory and liberation are closer than we expected. Now, obviously, by saying that, he's giving the British government a fair degree of significance. Trump, of course, last week said that when Macron said he'd recognise the state, it was irrelevant. But, hey, this is good news for Hamas, I think. Now, Emily Damari, you'll remember, she was the British hostage that I campaigned so hard for and got released. And she said today, this does not advance peace. It risks rewarding terror. It sends a dangerous message that violence earns legitimacy. Now, I know that you viewers of this channel have very, very split views on this question. Whilst I hope that everybody who watches GB News was appalled by the mass murder, rape and torture that took place on October the 7th, I know many people are very, very worried about how Israel has behaved and the sheer number of deaths that have taken place in Gaza.